Hello everyone, welcome to the Drone Shop. I'm your instructor, Tony Sauerbrey, for your UAS107 Remote Pilot Ground class. So I thought I would put together just a quick video to introduce myself and then also to chat about the class a bit. So let's get started. So just a little bit of background about me. I actually came to NMC back in about 2006, and it was to actually oversee the manned aviation program. So my background is in traditional manned aviation, and I came here from the University of North Dakota and helped oversee the traditional manned flying portion of NMC. So not too long after that, since this whole drone thing was starting to become a thing back then, we started looking at the future of what aviation was going to be, and I happen to have a good background with building and flying remote control airplanes. I've been doing that since I was a kid. So my background in traditional aviation and my background with, quite frankly, model aircraft and flying remote control airplanes really kind of came together, and it just was a really good fit for me. And we started taking a look at how we could start training people on this type of new technology. And we started introducing a few classes, and they became really popular. So long story short, I actually kind of quit my day job in manned aviation and switched to the unmanned side. And the rest is history. So along about that time, me and a few other colleagues, we also started a drone business. And it was an inspection business in the oil and gas industry. So we started working with Dow Chemical quite a bit, and that actually ended up taking me to Houston, Texas. So in about 2014, I actually left NMC and headed to Houston to continue to grow the drone business that me and my friends had started. And it was a great experience. We were doing a lot. I was lucky enough to be able to be helicoptered out onto oil rigs and using drones to inspect all their flare stacks and do all kinds of work along the Gulf Coast and actually even around the country. Things were going quite well, and we actually ended up getting bought out by a larger company. And because quite frankly, since this drone technology is continuing to grow and more companies are starting to see the benefits of it, instead of starting their own drone department, if you will, they really kind of just went, hey guys, why don't you come with us? You guys already know the drone business. You're already infiltrated into doing a lot of this stuff. So why don't you just come with us? And that's what we did. So we joined a much larger company. And after that, I had always kept in close contact with the college and what had been going on here and everything, and always loved the school. Very exciting what's going on here. And long story short, again, I had the opportunity to come back, and so in about 2018 made the jump back from Houston back to Traverse City, and been super happy with the move. Again, love the school. Very exciting what's going on in the drone industry. When I had left, there actually was not drone regulations yet. So this very class really kind of didn't exist. So it's really neat to see how far this industry's come in a short amount of time. So we actually started the drone program here at NMC about 10 years ago, and that's a long time in drone years. It's not very long ago, but so much has changed. New regulations, new technology. So really the industry is completely different than how we started. So to discuss a little bit more of the details about this class, like we have mentioned, the whole purpose of this class is actually to get your commercial drone license, or your remote pilot certificate as the FAA calls it. So everything is really engineered for you to pass that test. And to chat a little bit more about that particular test and how it relates to you in this class and all that good stuff, at the end of all of our training, you will take your FAA written test to become a commercial drone pilot. Believe it or not, you can actually become a commercial drone operator and have never touched a drone, never flown one. So what the FAA is worried about is your ability to understand airspace and know where to go and fly these things legally. How do you follow the rules? How do you stay safe? All that kind of good stuff. So they're more interested in your knowledge than actually your flight skill, believe it or not. I guess they kind of figure you can handle that part. But so when you go to take the test, you do have to go to an FAA testing center. And luckily for us, we actually have one here at NMC. So you don't have to go very far. You can actually just go to room 206 in Parsons-Stewlan and take your test there. So when the time comes, I will help you set up and schedule the time to take your test. You have to show up in person to take the test. The test is 60 questions, multiple choice, and a good pass rate, especially if you're getting some good training, like you are with this class, right? So the other thing that I want to mention though is it's $160 to take the test, and it's not covered by your course fees. We used to actually do it that way, but we can't anymore because of the way the feds had changed how you sign up for the test and everything. You actually have to pay for it online once you register for the test. And again, we'll help you with that and go through that process. But it is $160 that you'll have to pay for, and that's a federal fee. It's nothing to do with NMC. We're not keeping the money or anything like that. My personal opinion, I think they kind of make the price a little bit high like that, so people take it seriously, because quite frankly, you can take the test as many times as you want. You do have to wait 2 weeks if you fail it. But yeah, so really people, it's to, I think, in my opinion, it's to help prevent people from kind of failing their way through the test, because if you can take it as many times as you want, you can just kind of keep, it's like, well, my 10th time I got through it. So anyway, that's just my personal opinion. So like I mentioned, this class is a hybrid. So you'll be meeting with me once a week, and we'll be going over all kinds of different topics. Things such as airspace, rules and regulations, airport operations, weather, reading aviation weather charts. So basically all the items that the FAA has really outlined that you need to understand in order to become a commercial operator. So how are we going to do the online part? So again, you're meeting with me once a week, but then the rest of it's going to be done online. Now, there is information on Moodle, which we'll talk more about in just a minute, but the other thing is we partnered with another company to help generate some of the online topics and the whole online part of this course. So, and that company is called Unmanned Systems Institute, or USI for short. So you will be getting a sign-on, log-on credentials, and going to the USI site for doing some of the work, actually quite a bit of the online content for this class. We partnered with them a little while ago because their parent company has been involved with aviation for a long time with working with safety and safety courses. They got into the unmanned industry as well and created this Unmanned Systems Institute. So they have this great background creating courses and online content for safety related things like getting a commercial drone license, because that's the main objective here. So they got a great course laid out there, and we helped them and we tailor it and have this end product available for you. The other reason why we paired with them is they also offer additional industry certification. And as this industry grows, having something more than just a commercial drone license is very valuable. So if you're planning to go on and you actually want to be in this industry and get a job for Amazon or whatever, a lot of those companies are looking for additional credentials. Obviously the minimum would be having a commercial drone license, but then also things like, well, for in all honesty, just being here at NMC. You're getting so much more training and exposure to different things and flying different things and how you use all these drones in a commercial setting. That experience is a huge thing. But then also having some more credentials on your resume is really huge. And what you can get through USI by having this USI component to our classes, you can get additional certifications that a lot of companies are actually starting to require now. It's like, oh, you have to have a safety certification from USI, along with good drone training, and while we see that you went to NMC and you got your commercial drone license. So anyway, that was another reason why we decided to go with them for the online content, is that you can get more than just your commercial drone license. And we can definitely talk more about that in class or whatnot, because it's a pretty big deal to be able to have that and be able to do that. Okay, so after you get your username and sign on, you'll log in, and you'll probably have to change a password or do a couple things like that to set up your account. But basically this is kind of the nuts and bolts of the class. Now I have a few extra things that you won't have, such as like this instructor only part, but the class, the online portion, it's broken up into these different modules. So 1 through 8. So we have all the way through to this one right here, Module 8. And then at the end, there's also this, it's an additional test prep. So it's a practice exam that you'll take at the end to help better prepare you to take the actual written test. So just to kind of to run through some of the modules here. So the very first one, this one's really straightforward. Just kind of introduces you to what a UAS is. But then it starts to dig into a little bit more in Module 2 about the aircraft itself, and more about aerodynamics and performance and things that affect that. We also get into the elements, which is the weather and how to read aviation weather reports and whatnot. And then, of course, everyone's favorite, regulations. So there's a segment on all the federal aviation regulations that you have to comply with as you're a UAS operator. So operating in the NAS, operating in the National Airspace System, so learning all about airspace is Module 5. And it also gets into things like human factors and crew resource management, kind of the human side of flying, if you will, including aeronautical decision making in Module 7. And then also just being more of a professional, because remember, this is a commercial certificate. It's not just a license to fly your drone around in your backyard, but it's to be a professional and get out there and do commercial work. So let's just take a look at, say, for instance, the very first module. So each module has a few parts. So typically there's the kind of the core material, if you will. So this would be the learning part. And then there's also a workbook that's real interactive, that so you apply some of the things that you learned in the first part. And then each module ends with a little progress check. So it's a quiz, and I do have dates for the quizzes, like when they have to be completed and whatnot. So you can check the schedule for all that stuff, and we'll talk more about it in class as well. But to get started, really very straightforward. I think most of us are probably pretty good at navigating websites and that kind of stuff by now. So if we just click on the first one, and really what we're doing is just kind of hitting the play button. And I'll restart this, and I'll make sure there is someone that reads to you. So if you don't want that, you can always reduce the volume there. And let me move this to the center. But I think you get the picture. My intentions here isn't to go through each slide with you, but it's real straightforward how you read things, and it reads to you. You advance through different parts of the module, and it explains different things as you go. Along the way, let's see if I can find one. There are little questions like this one. This is not the test. This is not graded. So I'm just going to pick something. Oh, I guessed right. Didn't even read the question. So you will have these little questions that pop up. And then if you get an incorrect one. So these are, again, these are not scored. This is just to help you with your reading and to be a little bit more interactive. So pretty straightforward there. Let me go ahead and kind of bounce back out of this. Once you're done with that part, the textbook part, if you will, then you go on to what would be the next part, which is the workbook. The workbook does have some other things to read and whatnot, but it's a lot more interactive as far as asking some questions and little exercises to do, hence the name, a workbook. And again, it's not necessarily like you're graded on this. I mean, you're gonna wanna put in your best answers and everything, but it's not part of your grade. So you have to complete it before you can move on. So pretty straightforward there. Let me just exit out of this. After you're done with the course content or the module content and then also going through a workbook, the next thing would be a quiz. And don't stress out. Well, let's see here. We can go ahead and start the quiz. So this is just an example of what the quiz would be like. And this part is graded, so you'll want to do well. And this is part of your class grade. So there's not a lot of questions on a lot of these things. So again, don't fret. You don't have to be like super stressed out. And if you're following along and you're doing the work and you're paying attention, none of this stuff will be tricky for you. And actually, I'm not reading the questions as they go, but you get the gist of it. At the end, it'll grade you. You do have to get better than a 70 on each one. And just a little hint, you can actually take it 3 times. So don't use that necessarily to just kind of fail your way through it. But if you go through it and you feel like you could do better, you can definitely run through the material again and retake the quiz. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Let me just go back to the modules. And again, you won't have all this stuff. This is just some extra resources for us instructors. But it's pretty straightforward. You have to complete each module before you go on to the next one. The little lock box there will open, allowing you to go through to the next one. We'll talk more about the different modules in class and keeping you up to speed and making sure that you're getting things done on time. There's a few other things up here for you guys. Again, mine looks a little bit different than yours will, but you should be able to access like your grade on the different modules. And there should also be a way to be able to get some of these extra resources as well. So these are just like some extra PDFs that you can read to support some of the knowledge that you're gaining with the other modules. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And again, we'll chat more about it in class. Okay, so I thought I'd take just a few minutes to run through what's on the Moodle shell so you can get a little better idea of what's going on there as well. So kind of think of it this, as far as the online portion of your class is concerned, think of this as kind of the main part, and then from here you kind of go off and do the USI information. So we'll just run through this real quick. Some of the first things here, announcements, and then I do have a little course quiz. It's a whopping 10 questions, so and it's just questions about the course in general, so nothing to fret over, but it's just to make sure that you understand everything that we've gone over. A bit of a class forum, so you can post some stuff there, and throughout the semester there'll be some different topics, and then it also provides a method for some feedback and whatnot. So so this is important. Granted, we've been discussing pretty much all of this during the this video, but it doesn't hurt to actually just run through this real quick again and make sure that you have all the specifics. You have a good understanding of those, because this class is a little bit different than what you typically are used to. So little extra things going on with the FAA test and the USI site and all that kind of good stuff. Paper version of the class syllabus. Everything basically on there is what we've been discussing, but there is a paper syllabus, if you will, so you can download that right there. Required materials, we've already chatted about those quite a bit, but it does outline the Remote Pilot Test Prep book by ASA. You can get that on at the bookstore or online at some place like Amazon or whatnot. Now this one, the FAA Remote Pilot Study Guide, we did discuss that a little bit, but here's the PDF for it down here. So again, you can buy this as a book from Amazon or wherever, but you can also just get it as a free PDF, and that's right here. So you can download that if that's a little bit easier for you and you don't want to spend the money. And the USI online training portal, of course, that's the other aspect of the class. So you have to have access to get on that website, and you can actually get there from right here if you want. Excuse me. So the grading for the class, we haven't talked about this part yet. So basically your grade for the class is made up of 4 main areas. We have the standard class participation, homework, and attendance. That's 10% of your grade. And the module quizzes on the USI site make up 25%. And then we are going to have some tests in class. So you have to be there, paper test, that kind of stuff. And that's 40% of your grade. Your FAA written test that you actually take at the FAA Testing Center is 25%. So they do score that. So after you're done with that, I actually record your grade, and it is part of your final grade. Now, I've broken up the class into the different weeks, and this is kind of our calendar as well. I thought this would be easier because if there is any changes or whatnot, we can just I can make the changes right here, and then you can see that and keep up with it that way. So each week is highlighted as to what we're going to be doing, and also the reading assignments to keep you up with that. So in the different books, Remote Pilot Test Prep, and then also the Remote Pilot Study Guide on that PDF. So this is what you would need to start reading. I also attached the PowerPoint presentations that we'll be going over in class, so those are available for you as well. And yeah, that part I think is pretty straightforward. It just talks about what we're going to be doing each week and what you should be preparing for. And then again, of course, the PowerPoint presentations from that. Some of the things that I've also added is just a few extra videos, YouTube videos typically, that might help you understand the concepts a little bit better if you want a little extra knowledge or practice, if you will, from the information we learn in class, and then also the online part of the class. Again, here's the PowerPoint for that. So I think you kind of get the picture there. I also highlight where the exams are going to be. Like, these are the in-class exams. So say for instance on February 16th we will have our first in-class exam on UAS components, maintenance, and aerodynamics and performance. And we'll chat more about those in class as well. So largely straightforward then, all the way coming down through the last exam. And then the other one that I want to highlight is taking your FAA test. We will be talking about this more in class, but there is, to take that test and get signed up for it, it's a little bit of a process. And again, we will talk about this more in class, and I'll help you with this process. But here's basically you have to go to 2 different websites to set up an account to be able to do this. You have to go to an FAA website first and register there, and you take some of that information, and then you go to this website over here, PSI exams, and that's how you actually sign up for the test. So you kind of have 2 places to go for that. But we'll chat more about that when we're in class. Other than that, I got a few extra things. Some different drone news sources. If you like to keep up on your drone news, there's a few links over here. And these links right here are, this one's to the testing center for scheduling your test, and then this is the FAA link to go set up your account with them. And then here's an additional USI link to be able to get to that website. So again, go ahead and let me know if you have any questions on this, and we can chat more about it in class. Close all these up, and I think we're good to go. So I hope that helps you understand a little bit better about what's going on in the class. Definitely, if you have any issues or problems throughout the semester or anytime, just let me know. We can bring it up in class and talk about, but feel free to also email me, give me a phone call, stop by my office or whatnot. Be happy to help. Don't wait to the last minute if you do have an issue or anything. So welcome to the class.